Hey guys, it's Shortcakey. How are you doing? I hope you're doing good today. And yes, I'm back, but I'm going to try to start a new series because I am interested in murders and mysteries. So, what we're going to do today in this video is the top 20 male killers. And don't forget to like, and if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so when you know my videos go up. So here are the top 20 serial killers. Coming in at number one is the Zodiac Killer. Now, the Zodiac Killer fashioned this name himself in taunting letters he sent to the Bay Area press. He left ciphers to be decoded, and out of the four he sent, only one was definitely solved. The killer operated in California in the late 1960s and early 1970s. His last letter said ME-37 and SFPD, which is the San Francisco Police Department. 0. He claimed to have killed 37 victims, but the newspaper confirmed only 7. The case file, to this day, is still open. Coming at number 2 is Harry Gaskins, or Donald Harry Gaskins, the hitchhiker's killer. Gaskins has claimed to have killed between 80 to 90 people by torturing and mutilating them. Oh, forgot earlier. Disclaimer, some graphic and adult stuff. So, he started killing in 1969, picking up hitchhikers on the coastal highways of the American South. A criminal associate witnessed him killing 2 young men and confessed to the police. He was sentenced to death, which was later turned to life. Imprisonment without any parole. I don't know if I agree with that, but hey, that's just me, my opinion. Gaskins added another murder to his name and became the only man to have ever killed an inmate on death row. Irony. And number 3, I'm sorry I may mispronounce this, but Toshimo Miyazaki, the human Dracula. He got more names to his hideous acts, though. Some of them were the Otaku murderer, the little girl murderer, the Dracula Miyazaki. The reason for this being is that he abducted little girls, killed them, and indulged in sexual activities with their corpses. On one occasion, he not only drank the victim's blood, but ate her hand as well. He also preserved body parts as trophies and sent postcards to the families describing the murders. His father committed suicide, and Miyazaki was hanged. Yes, hanged. In 2008, at age 45. Coming at number 4, Ted Bundy, the crazy necrophile. Ted Bundy was an American serial killer, kidnapper, rapist, and necrophile. He operated in various states in the U.S. and confessed to killing 30 women. He revisited some crime scenes and indulged in sexual acts with the corpses. 1 minute here. Sorry. Bundy beheaded at least 12 victims and kept their heads as trophies in his apartment. Age 42, Bundy died on the electric chair in 1989. His own defense attorney said Ted was the very definition of heartless evil. Coming at number 5, Jack the Ripper, which is my favorite one. I'm sorry, he's my favorite one to indulge in, not indulge in, but I say read about and see why, because they never supposedly caught him. So it has my attention.
What you doing?
I am doing this. The real killers are killers were never identified. The name came into being because the victims had organs missing, and judging by the procedure, the killer seemed to have surgical experience. Jack the Ripper, who was later believed to be a single person, killed female prostitutes. In the slums of London, between 1888 and 1891. Yeah. Coming at number 6 is Louis Garavito.
What you doing?
Sorry. I forgot to silence my phone here. There we go. Now, also dubbed by the media as the La Bestia, the Beast, the Colombian is probably one of the world's worst serial killers. He confessed to the torture, rape, and murder of 147 young boys. But the number is believed to be over 300. He was found guilty on 139 counts, which should amount to 1,853 years in prison, if my math is correct. But Colombian law limits it to 30. Go figure. Which is what he was sentenced to in 1999. He may be released earlier for cooperation and good behavior. Really? Ahmad Suradiji, number 7, the sorcerer. The cattle breeder from Indonesia admitted to killing 42 girls and women between 1986 and 1997. As part of his ritual, he used to bury them waist deep. Bodies were found in a sugarcane field with their heads facing his house, which he believed would give him more power. Suraji was sentenced to death by a firing squad. Good. In 2008. Again, good. Coming at number 8 is Alexander Pichushkin, the chessboard killer. Let me put it out the way. Sorry. He was also known as the chessboard killer and the Bitsa Park maniac. His targets were homeless men whom he lured to his house with vodka. He is believed to have killed 49 people, most of them with repeated hammer blows to their heads, and inserted a vodka bottle into the gaping skull wound. Ouch. He initially said he wanted to complete the number of squares on a chessboard and kill 60 4 people. Also, it is believed that he was in competition with another Russian serial killer, Andrei Chikatilo, I think is how it's said. Like I said, I may mispronounce some of these names. I'm sorry. Correct me in the comments below. Who was convicted in 1992 for 53 killings. It was the very same year Alexander started killing. And speaking of the devil, coming at number 9, Andrei Chikatilo, the butcher. Andrei the butcher of Rostov said, "When I used my knife, it brought psychological relief. I know I have to be destroyed. I was a mistake of nature." He was responsible for sexually assaulting, killing, and mutilating 53 women and children between 1978 and 1990 in Russia. After being captured in 1992, he was ordered to be killed by a firing squad in 1994. Number 10, Charles Edmund Colin, the Angel of Death. Colin worked as a nurse in many hospitals but kept switching jobs as he was fired for suspicious behavior from many of them. He confessed to murdering 40 elderly patients in New Jersey from 1984 to 2003. He did this by poisoning his patients to death with unprescribed medication. He stated that he wanted to relieve the patients from their suffering, much like an angel would. Experts say he had more than 300 victims. Colin has been imprisoned for life, so we don't have to worry about that. Patrick Wayne Kearney, the trash bag killer, coming at number 11. Also called the trash bag killer, he operated between 1975 and 1977. Kearney had a high IQ, but once captured, he confessed to 33 murders of homosexual men. Kearney would dump their bodies along California highways and wrapped them in trash bags, thus earning the name. He was convicted of 21 murders, but was sentenced to life because of his confession. He should have gotten the death penalty, in my opinion. Coming at number 12, Dennis Rader, BTK murderer. Between 1974 and 1991, Dennis Rader murdered 10 people in Wichita, Kansas. He even sent letters to police taunting them under his alias name BTK, which stood for Bind, Torture, Kill. His technique was to stalk his victims before breaking into their homes, binding their limbs, and finally strangling them. He disappeared in 1988 but reemerged around 2005 when he sent a floppy disk to the press which helped in tracing him. Rader confessed to his crimes and is serving 10 consecutive life sentences, with the earliest release date possible February 26, 2180. I think he'll be dying in jail. John George High, number 13, acid bath murderer. John George High was also known as the acid bath murderer and operated during the 1940s. He was convicted for the murders of 6 people, although he claimed to have killed 9. He was a professional con man who lured wealthy people by charm and deceit into a warehouse where he shot them. Later, he would dissolve their bodies in sulfuric acid and then forge papers to sell their possessions and collect their life savings. He was sentenced to death and hanged in 1949. What? Number 14 is Paul Nose, the Casanova Killer. Swoon. Sorry. Also known as the Casanova Killer, Nose used his charm into making his victims believe him and later killed them. He killed a total of 18 people. Although the count might be more, his victims included men, women, and sadly children. The man from Florida was eventually killed by an FBI agent in 1974 when he was trying to escape. 15. William Bonin, the Freeway Killer. Bonin was also known as the Freeway Killer. Between 1979 and 1980, he raped, tortured, and murdered at least 21 young men. Bonin would dump their bodies along the freeways in South California. After being convicted of 14 of his killings, he was executed by lethal injection. I would have done the execution. In 1996, his sadistic side was still seen during his prison sentence, where he corresponded with many of his victims' families about how their children reacted to his torture. Like I said, he got off light with a lethal injection. He should have been, yeah. Aileen Wuornos, I'm sorry, the monster. And we all know the movie. If you haven't seen it, it's wow. Her story allowed Charlize Theron to win an Academy Award. She played Eileen in the 2003 movie Monster. While working as a prostitute, Eileen killed 7 men in Florida for their money, and confessed to shooting them, claiming all of them had either raped or attempted to rape her. She died in 1992 by lethal injection. Jeffrey Dahmer, another famous one, the Milwaukee Cannibal. I don't know what's wrong with me today. I'm sorry. Jeffrey Dahmer was responsible for dismembering 17 men and boys between 1978 and 1991. Dahmer also indulged in necrophilia and cooking body parts of his victims, then eating them. He was eventually caught after a prospective victim managed to overpower him. Yay! Dahmer was sentenced to 15 terms of life imprisonment in 1992, but he was beaten to death by a fellow prisoner at the Columbia Correctional Institution 2 years later. Number 18, the clown, the burial king, John Wayne Gacey. Gacey operated between 1972 and 1978 in Chicago, Illinois. He sexually assaulted and murdered 33 teenage boys and young men. Gacey would lure his victims to his home with the promise of work or money before murdering them by strangulation using a tourniquet. He buried 26 of his victims in the crawl space under his house and later disposed the bodies off the Des Plaines River. Convicted of 33 murders, Gacey was sentenced to death and spent 14 years on death row before he was executed by lethal injection on May 10th, 1994. Number 19. We're almost done, guys. Tommy Lynn Sells, the brutal Texan. A fellow Texan. Ooh. Tommy Lynn Sells is perhaps the most dangerous Texan in history. He claimed to have killed at least 70 people. He brutally murdered people between 1985 and 1999, including stabbing a 13-year-old girl 16 times. Sells broke into the bedroom of a 10-year-old girl, stabbing her, and left her to die. But despite her injuries, she managed to survive and gave a detailed description of Sells to the police. He was sentenced to death and remains on death row on a high security prison in Texas. And number 20, Pedro Rodriguez Filho, the Brazilian maniac. Arrested in 1973, Pedro was later convicted in 2003 for the murder of at least 71 people and was then sentenced to 128 years imprisonment. He was only 14 when he committed his first killing. He wreaked havoc on local drug dealers in revenge for his girlfriend's killing while he was in prison. In prison, he even executed his own father, who was also serving time for murder. Filho went on to kill at least 47 inmates while imprisoned. His continued killings have led to his sentence to be increased to 400 years. Yeah. Well, that's it for today's videos, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want more, leave a comment below. And if you want more details of the murder mystery stuff, let me know. I definitely enjoy these. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.